Rabia Naeem. Okay,
Yes, sir.
let us begin then.
Sure, sir. Start, Rizwan.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning everyone. Today I, Mohammed Rizwan, and along with my partner Raja Naeem, we are here to present a topic named sarcasm, self-deprecation, and inside jokes, a user's guide to humor at work. This is basically an Harvard Business Review article published by Alison Wood Group and Brad Bitterly. So to start with, we all are aware of humor and we use it in our daily life as a that it reduces mental stress and we are aware of its impact on it. But many a times it happens, but many a times it happens that a joke that we crack in a public won't make it stand in a public and or it is an inappropriate joke, so it will that could have a negative impact on the persons around us. So to avoid that, I am sure if you will pay attention to this present during this presentation, I am sure you will be better at using humor in the outside world as well as in the workplace, and your work and your jokes won't backfire at you. So to start with, Ravi, are you changing slides?
Yes, I have changed it.
Yes, thank you. So to start with, what if someone asks us what is the impact of humor in the workplace apart from reducing mental stress? So, to this question, I would like to quote and research by Professor Cecily Cooper of University of Miami and Professor Tony Kong of University of South Florida and Professor Craig Crossley of University of Central Florida. So, as per the research, the researchers have found that when a leader uses humor in the communication with his employees and subordinates, so it makes the employees much more happier and it fosters better communication among the employees as well as it gives them the chance to initiate voluntary actions for the better effective to the organization. So, and in another research, it was found that a person who cracks jokes in the daily communication in the or in workplace, so he is perceived as much more confident and competent, as well as for subsequent growth tasks, he is perceived as a leader. So starting with the humor is a persistent, ingrained, and significant aspect of human experience. That could mean humor is a emotion or humor is a omnipresent in most of the situations that we face in our daily life. It just requires creativity, a creative mindset, or a higher level of abstract thinking to dig it out from the situation and make the people laugh. So the second point of which related to humor is it's an effective interpersonal tool that fosters work relationships and builds trusted partnerships. So here I would like to add an example that most of us available here would have experienced since their childhood. We remember in our childhood in the class when a teacher who uses to speak with a light-hearted humor or who uses to crack jokes while teaching, we were much more comfortable in this class and we used to communicate with him in a better way and we would tend to understand that subject in a much better way. The reason behind that was because the person when someone cracks jokes or makes us laugh, we perceive him as a trusted partner. We perceive that person as an open person and that he doesn't have anything to hide. We started trusting in our psychological mind. So that is the effective interpersonal tool of humor that it fosters work relationships as I told about the research earlier and it also builds a trusted partnership. The next point is it influences creativity and problem solving. As I have told that to figure out humor from the situation requires creativity, a creative mindset. And it is also research that finds that any person who uses humor or crack is a light-hearted person is a good problem solver and with a creative mindset. So and the next point is the same what I have already told that humorous person is regarded as more confident and competent person in the case of leaders. So every great thing comes with some of the disadvantages attached with it. So the same thing is with the humor. The issues that are attached with humor are if it doesn't make a stand in the situation, it backfires upon the person who cracks the joke. So for example, if a person who cracks a joke in a group and it doesn't make anyone laugh or people doesn't laugh to the jokes. So the people may perceive him as a senseless person, a person with a less confidence, or it lowers his status and in the eyes of the group members available there. And in extreme cases, the bad humor or inappropriate jokes could cost people their jobs. As it's already written that it is an extreme case, it's a rare situation. But if a person wants hold on to his inappropriate joke, this is a certain thing that should happen. Okay, so the next thing that comes with this is the ways of using humor in the various contexts. The first one is sarcasm. Sarcasm involves high level abstraction and deep creativity. So basically, when someone uses sarcasm, he basically means that he says one thing, but he makes the opposite of it. So, for example, here I would like to add an example of my teacher who uses to, whenever some a student uses to come late in the class, so instead of shouting at him, he uses a very sarcastic tone to tell him that, अरे आ गए आप आइए आइए बैठिए सर and in that and he asked him for any discussion that क्या कुछ चाय नाश्ता लेंगे सर in a very he uses this quote in a very sarcastic tone. So he doesn't get angry on the person. So it gives the person a chance to insight of himself that what wrong did he did so that he could avoid in the next time. So when to use the sarcasm? We should use the sarcasm when we are trying to build relationships or we need a good partnership with a person or when we are boost when to boost creativity around trustworthy and familiar person. When to avoid the sarcasm? This is the most important one. In unfamiliar situations or in the situation where you think that your sarcastic comments won't people won't be able to get your sarcastic comments. In those situations, you should avoid using sarcasm. You should avoid using sarcasm. So, and the next point that attached with sarcasm is when you want to avoid interpersonal conflict. So many of the times, due to comments or witty replies, there could be conflict among two persons. So if there is a slight chance of this, we should avoid the use of sarcasm. The next context is inside joke. Inside joke is understood only by people with special knowledge about something. This is something that most of us had faced in our life or we had been a part of this. Just for example, take a example of two close friends, and among them a third person came to talk to them, and due to something they started laughing due to what is related to something previous or something past. So they started laughing about talking that information. About this, the third person don't have any knowledge of the background information about that about that about that information. So he won't get why they are laughing, and he may perceive them as a superior amongst them, and that they know the things that the third person don't know. So it involves background information and reflects closeness and solidarity in the group. So, but the inside joke should be avoided in the situations when group solidarity is important, or when simultaneously an outsider may feel left out. And this could be used in a family surroundings when when there is a closeness among the group. So till here, I discussed about humor, I discussed about issues related with humor, and I discussed about the context of sarcasm and inside jokes. So that was all from my part. Now the further part will be carried on by my colleague Rabia. And over to you, Rabia now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rizwan. Am I visible and audible, sir?
Yes, very much.
Okay.
Rabia, you are not visible. You're
Not visible. Just now, am I visible?
I'm afraid not. What about others? Are they able to see Rabia?
What's the?
Rabia,
Rabia, it's
please
not
check your.
even showing on your own screen.
Am I visible now?
Hmm.
No.
No, Rabia.
Now?
No.
My camera is turning off again and again.
Can you join from the same ID from your mobile phone or camera?
Just a minute.
And Kanishka, in the meanwhile, can you share with me your email ID?
Yes, sir.
Just send me a test mail. I will share with you a PPT which I may run if the time permits in the end.
So, sir, I should WhatsApp you or in the comment section?
Better send me an email.
Okay, sir.
I'll reply on that.
What if I rejoin again?
Please.
Yes, right.
Okay. In the laptop, so is it fine?
Yes, okay, that's okay.
Okay. Is my slide visible?
Yes.
Good morning to all of you. My name is Rabia, and I'll continue with the topic self-deprecating humor. So, what is self-deprecating humor? It is engaging in funny talks with your friends or publicly about the things that you don't like in you. It's about your habits, behaviors, etc. So, it is basically deprecating yourself in front of others in a funny way. Doing so has certain benefits. The ability to laugh at yourself may not only bring your work team closer, but it may also alleviate some of the anxiety related to being perfect at the workplace. Also, people that can admit to their failures or their shortcomings with a smile are more approachable. Use humor, self deprecating humor, when disclosing any negative information about yourself, as we tend to perceive people more confident when they disclose their flaws or their imperfections using humor. Also, people tend to view that information less true and less important. Avoid when discussing any core or an important skill. Like, for example, when during a job interview or during an important meeting, it is probably better to avoid deprecating your achievements and avoid highlighting your failures, which could in turn backfire at you and it could cost you a job. Authors in the article have specified certain situations when humor can be useful. First is using humor to deliver negative feedback. Delivering negative feedback can be challenging, but it is necessary for improvement. So, delivering it in a way that is more empowering and that is more effective, it is helpful using humor. On the screen are two examples of managers giving feedback to their employees. Use humor to deliver negative feedback when you want the receiver to remember the feedback, when you want the feedback to have an impact on the receiver. As we have seen in the earlier slide, that the managers, they have a hint of sarcasm in their feedback, which will have an impact on the employee, and the employee will try to improve in his performance. And because following criticism with humor, it softens the feedback. So avoid it when the chance of the receiver the receiver is there underestimating the importance of the feedback. Say, for example, if a manager jokes about the declining performance of an employee, he or she won't take it seriously. So in such circumstances, it is better to avoid. Second is using humor for coping mechanism. Humor can be helpful in coping from stress, negativity, hassles, etc. So use in circumstances when you have close bond with the people in difficulty, when you are familiar with the people around you. Say, for example, there is a stressful situation at your workplace, and due to, say, a deadline that's coming up, so approaching your coworkers and cracking some humorous jokes, it will be beneficial for them and it will help them cope with the stressful situation. Avoid when the situation is ongoing or recent. For example, there has been some serious incident in a person's life, so it won't be good if you just engage in the conversation with that person and start joking about that serious situation rather than consoling the person. Last but not the least, using humor to avoid difficult questions. Only few people enjoy being asked difficult questions. Research reveals that a range of ways people respond to difficult questions is either by staying silent or by explicitly lying about it. So, in situations like these, humor can be helpful as it distracts and it turns the attention away from certain information, and it makes you appear more confident and intelligent in front of others. Here is a video that better explains the situation. It is a video of a news reporter, asking Mahendra Singh Dhoni about his retirement. Can I play the video, sir?
Yes, why not?
Okay.
And they continue playing on after this tournament. Come here. Let's have some fun. Please come here. Come. Seriously. Come here. Yeah, come. Okay. Hello, sir. You want me to retire? No, well, okay. I was going to ask you. Do you think I'm unfit? No. Looking at me running? Very fast. You think I can survive to the 2019 World Cup? Sure, yes, sure. Then you have answered the question.
Was the video able to play properly, sir?
Yes, you.
Okay. Use humor to dodge difficult questions when you're confident that your response will be funny and your joke won't fall flat. Avoid when you don't have a proper sense of the audience, when you're not familiar with the norms of the environment, and you're not confident with your joke. That brings us towards the end of the presentation, and I would like to conclude by saying work is often a humorless aim, and jokes and laughter, it usually seems to be out of place. So, involving humor in our workplace culture help us to be more productive, more effective with our fellow human beings, and it also help us to increase happiness at work. Use humor only when you're conscious of your relationship with the people and norms of the environment. Context and timing is very important, meaning be conscious of what you are saying, to whom, and in what situation. Not being good at humor is fine, but you can still incorporate levity into one's life by appreciating and laughing at other people's humor. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Rabia and Rizwan. I think these are the only presentations that we have today. So for group 2, we are through with the presentations.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Aram.
Sir, me and Adil Akhtar were left to give the presentation. Faraz sir had said that we can give the presentation today.
Okay. And you are speaking on which theme?
Sir, abrasive personality.
So that means you missed the presentation earlier, huh?
Yes, sir. We were not able to give it.
Okay, you can start.
ये क्या लगा? So am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So hello and assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you today. Me, Adil Ali Akhtar, and my assignment partner Arham Tareen are here to present our assignment on the topic of abrasive personality by Harry Levinson. He is a well-known author, president of Levinson Institute, and lecturer in Harvard University. And this article was published in 1978. Please, can you change the slide? These are the contents which our presentation contains. And slide one. So basically, what is the meaning of the word abrasive? It is stem from the words such as harsh and inconsiderate. It is the type of people who doesn't care about the others, who doesn't care about others' feeling. They are obsessed with their ideas and the way of thinking. They don't care about the other people' feelings. An abrasive person is someone with harsh and cold and direct behavior. This behavior pattern reflects in the individual interacts with the people around them. People with abrasive personality are mostly termed unfriendly, egoistic, harsh, and aggressive, but they have both positive and negative sides in their character. Slide two, please. So let us understand who is an abrasive person. They are extremely ambitious in nature and good worker. They try to achieve much. They try to they try too much to achieve, and they enrage frustration within the organization. Wait, sorry. And as we discussed about the abrasive personality here, are some positive attributes of abrasive person. Positive attributes of abrasive person are they consider themselves as perfectionist, but it doesn't always works. They are knowledgeable and fully aware of what they are doing. They are dedicated and hardworking. Slide 4. And let's get to their negative side as well. The negative attributes are they are very impatient, cannot take criticism and take it negatively, self-defensive nature, self-centered, dominating, and highly competitive. Now let us understand it with an example of Daryl Sandstrom, which is mentioned in the article of Harry Levington. Daryl Sandstrom has become vice president at a very young age of a company and of a corporation and of a major division as a whole, because when he became vice president, the company was in a very bad shape. Any problem which he was given to him, he gets to the bottom of the problem and solves the problem, which was difficult for everybody else. He was competent enough for the problem, but the problem lies with his behavior. He is completely abrasive towards his peers and colleagues. He is very harsh to his subordinates and unbearing. If anybody who does not agree or conform to his ideas and with his pace of thinking, uh, with his vision, he completely dismisses them or criticizes them and even gets back at them. Obviously, and it is not a good manner in the company.
Yes.
So dismisses them. Yes, criticizes them and even get back to them. Obviously, it's not a good manner, but in a very hurtful manner also, which often hurts his subordinates and with his superiors. Either he tries to be very good to them and he wanted to be in good books of them of their bosses, so he could be you know and but in sometimes he gets extremely competitive, and then in that case he even tries to compete with his superiors in the company, which is complete disregard with the code of ethics that he's supposed to maintain. So that's a great example of Sandstorm. That's all from my side. Thank you. Now Arham can take over.
Aram, turn on your mic and video.
Yes, sir. Am I visible?
Yes.
Hello. Okay, you're mute. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. So I should start. Okay. So what is dilemma? Right? Dilemma is a problem that the company faces with such kind of people. So so the dilemma is that, for example, in the case of Sandstorm, uh, the senior management of the company has seen that post of president is vacant, and now it's a good chance to promote Sandstorm the post of president. But the problem is that he's an abrasive person. So although promoting him to being the president might actually be more profitable to the company, as he has now more power over the area's company, so he could earn more profit from him. But this also leverages the problem faced by the peers and his subordinates, or even his seniors. He might end up being more abrasive uh, and even more unfulfilled about others' feelings. So, so what should the superiors do? Promote him, or if they want to uh, remove him, then that will be a very big dilemma on the person because of his personality. So, as he can't take rejections, so this is the dilemma, as he has both sides positives as well as negative attributes to it, and this resulted in neither. Nor was he promoted or was he spared. So he had certain types of qualities as well as roadblocks as well. Can you please change the present? Yeah, thank you. What if you're abrasive? So one can work at self correction. They need to be aware, and there are certain types of questions mentioned in the article that would help to know if the person is abrasive or not. So yeah, yeah, that would help the person if they're abrasive or not. I don't know why it's mute. Okay, so the second thing is that they can ask a third person to help you, because an abrasive person naturally won't be able to understand their problems that they have in their personality because of the ego they have. And if your behavior causes you serious problems on the job, then a professional is indicated, as it is not good for the company that uh, it gives a destructive environment later on. Can you change the slide, please? Yeah. So the solutions for this would be the realized psychological axiom: uncritically report your observations of his or her behaviors, abusive behaviors. Recognize his desire to achieve. Try avoiding impulsive attacks. If he or she challenges, debates, or defends, don't counter back. You have to understand from their perspective, as they won't understand the way you think. So you have to be understanding enough, and don't counter back with that. Expect to have to repeat this process, and it is a long ongoing process, and it cannot be finished. It is a very long process, and this is the one way of solving an abrasive personality. They must be told very early how their behavior undermines, provide political guidance and instructions in teamwork, tell them their behavior is abrasive and unsatisfactory. You have to let them know, but there should be a certain type of way of letting them know. Refer to a competent psychologist or a psychiatrist for therapy. So I would like to conclude this. Managers can overcome this problem by assisting their obnoxious subordinates in comprehending the harmful effects of their personalities. This is also bad for the centralized nature of the company, as the people who are a little bit higher than the person, abrasive person, it is very difficult for them to control this abrasive personality. So this strategy requires the time and patience, but it is possibly the only way for managers to save such individuals for the organization. Thank you. That would be all.
Okay. Let us start with the Rizwan and Rabia. We have roughly around 10-12 minutes to go. So let us listen to Rizwan first, and then Rabia.
I think that I was slightly hurrying in the presentation, or maybe I was not able to connect with the audience. I think so. You will say in the class.
And what would be the reason for that?
Reason was that I missed some of the points that I had thought that should be the reason. That is the reason.
Rabia, what about you?
Sir, I could have been more expressive with my speech, and also I could have used more concrete examples for the content.
Okay.
Yes.
And Aram, what about you? Aram and Adil?
Sir, I had certain technical difficulties because of which we weren't able to give the presentation more crisply.
More crisply.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Same here.
Crisply, what do you mean by that? Even shorter than what you did? Crisp means no, more precise or more compactful. Is that what you mean, or you mean you are referring to fluency of your speech?
Fluency, sir, and
Fluency.
we had problem as we are actually in the same room giving the
Crisply
presentation.
is different then. Crisply is different. Crisp means
Okay.
if it would have got elongated and then there was a need to make it more precise and brief, then it is crisp. Otherwise,
sir.
what you are referring to is coherence in your communication, the fluency in your communication.
Yes, sir.
So overall, Rizwan and Rabia, I'm happy with your preparation and the way you delivered it. I think in your case, there was good internalization of content. The point which I have been insisting again and again, that we should understand the content first.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Thank you. Thank you,
so
sir.
both Rizwan and Rabia, you were speaking with understanding, and there was lucidity in your talk. So it was moving effortlessly. That was the good
So,
point of it. But Rizwan, I
Thank you,
think you
sir.
need to focus a bit more on your pace of communication. I think you were
yes, sir.
slightly fast paced, and because of that, the clarity was
Okay.
compromised.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Each and every part of your presentation was not very clear because of pace. So my request
Okay.
to you would be to pace down a bit, reduce the speed, and that will help you gain more clarity in your communication. Your focus, you tend to speak a bit fast overall. Maybe this you might have noted this feedback. I don't know whether you ever got it or not. Even in your normal conversation, my hunch is that you might be speaking a bit fast and
Yes, sir.
not giving sufficient time to the audience to absorb your idea. So focus on that. I think, but you did some good things, like the way you presented the article, and then the way you summarized in the end, and then handed over to Rabia. All these were the good things that you did. So overall, one more thing which I think you can note is, especially in online kind of presentation, we have to be very very sure of the camera's position. Now, in your case, because you were using hands very often to
Yes,
support your communication, but the hands were maybe the location of the camera was such that your face then was getting uh,
it was getting covered.
your face was not visible because of excessive hands movement.
Okay.
So make sure that your focus of the camera always remains on your face,
Okay.
isn't it?
Sure, sir. We'll work on it. Thank you,
Because
sir.
in this kind of online kind of presentation, face is the index, and that's the most expressive part of the body language, which audience will take a note of. So don't do anything that blocks that part.
Okay,
So
sir.
Rabia, in your case, I think the problem was mainly all the positives I have already pointed out. But I think
Yes,
the
sir.
key problem was that you were looking at the laptop from a particular angle, isn't it? And
Yes,
because
sir.
of that, your eye contact with the audience was not there. So sort out all these technical issues because you should be able to look straight into the eyes.
Sure, sir.
I know in online presentations, uh, eye contact is challenging, but you have to look to the camera in such a manner that you are able to, you give this impression that you are looking at the audience.
Okay, sir.
So, but overall, both of you did a good job, and your content
Thank
was
you.
also interesting. I'm reminded of a couplet which puts the entire article in a summary form in this couplet. It says कि हंसो कि आज हंसी की बहुत ज़रूरत है, हंसो कि आज हंसी की बहुत ज़रूरत है, मगर किसी के लबों से न छीन कर लाओ. So a humor which is directed at others, or a fun which is made at the cost of others, is not a good humor. The best humor is one which is directed towards one's own self, because it is so difficult to laugh at oneself, isn't it? So this, I think, was the core message of the article which you presented, and naturally this plays a very important role in communication. हमारा ह्यूमर जो है वो ऐसा ना हो कि वो फक्कड़पन की कैटेगरी में आता है ना, हम लोग मतलब लव इस्तेमाल करते हैं फक्कड़पन. तो ह्यूमर इज गुड, it lightens the environment, but फक्कड़पन is a big no-no, isn't it? So, and Arham, I think both of you uh, need to work on the flow of your communication. And because your communication moves in a halting manner, you fill it with a lot of fillers. And at times they are very distracting. So you will say a word or two, and then you will stop and you say, ah, yes, then you again move. So if we have too many fillers in our communication, it acts as a roadblock. So focus on the flow, be
Yes,
more
sir.
fluent.
Sure, sir.
And I think, as I've already noted about Rizwan, Adil, for example, if you have to give lead to somebody, or you have to, it's a relay race and you have to pass on the baton, how in a relay race an athlete passes on the baton? He runs with the person for some time, isn't it? So by that, what is the implication over here? You can't hand over in an abrupt manner.
Yes.
You have to summarize, okay, I have presented this part. I have shared with you the characteristics of an abrasive personality. I have shared with you the positives and the negative sides of this personality. Then I've also discussed with you a case study of a real life manager who had this problem. And now, how to handle this will be discussed by my friend Arham Karim. So the audience have a way of relating, isn't it?
Sir.
What part you have covered and what is being followed next, isn't it? That would be better than. I think I don't know what was the, you both of you are sitting in the same room.
Yes, sir.
There is less light on your face. The focus should be, I don't know. Aram's
So the
face is
camera
clearly
issue.
visible. In your case, it is a blurred looking angle.
Devices, camera.
So make sure that the focus on all these things.
Yes, sir.
Like I'm also sitting in front of a light, and it's a low light, but it is it gives a clear picture. Isn't it? But
Yes.
in your case, it seems as if the light is more on the back side, and because of that, your face is not visible. So take care of these things also when you are making an online presentation. So, and I feel sorry that you missed the first opportunity. So for us, I will share with you that there will be some reductions in marks for that absence. And you missed one part in the content, that is when your boss is abrasive, how do you deal with that situation? It described when you are aggressive, how do you deal with this situation? There was one part dealing how to deal with the boss, an aggressive boss, or an abrasive boss. Anyway, I think now Kanishka, I have shared a PPT with Kanishka, but we don't have a time to run the share with you. This would be a kind of summary of whatever feedback we have been giving to you all through. So I've tried to put it together in the form of a PPT. but maybe it will be a good idea to share it on some other day when the entire class is present. Today we have run out of time. So let me check whether it will be tomorrow or in the next week, because I have to check with the schedule of Dr. Faraz. There are some presentations left, so we will decide in consultation tomorrow. So be watchful. We will share the update on the WhatsApp group. Thank you
Okay,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.